I'd probably go with something else. In fact, Small Business Server Essentials, you could put Forefront on there for the server itself, and put Security Essentials on the workstations. So that's free. So they save money there. So I would go with a Small Business Server 2011 Essentials, put a bunch of storage in it, let them do client PC backup, and then of course you need a backup solution for the server itself. Now, in my opinion, you don't need to back up the client backup. So whatever storage you have in the server that is designated to back up the client PC backups, you don't need to back up that because that is a backup.
Mhm.
I would just worry whatever backup solution I have is only backing up the shared data that's on the server. So, but I would also make sure my documents is redirected to the server. So there's really I don't want any data on the workstation as any setup in a domain. I want as little data as possible on the workstation. I want that data on the server. Because if a computer dies, I just want to reload Windows, put the program back on, and go. I don't worry. It's easier with company or with business support to not have all that data locally.
Mm-hmm. And he had mentioned Mosey and Carbonite, which both are great if you're doing your home PC. For a business, kind of stray away from that. And I'll tell you why. I can't really speak for Mosey. For Carbonite, if it's great, I've used it before. I don't use it anymore because I have a NAS device, which I do back up, Matt. But with Carbonite, if you delete a file off that PC that's using Carbonite, after 30 days, Carbonite will delete that same file off their servers. So if that 31st day you want to go look for that file and you erased it, not only is it gone from your workstation, it's gone from a Carbonite. So that's the only one the feature that turned off some people because they thought it was a backup like forever they can retrieve. But a Carbonite's meant if your PC crashes, that all your data is there after you get a new one. So.
Yeah, and that's actually an issue with any kind of backup you have. If you're using backup to a hard drive, backing up the tapes, unless you have a lot of backup tapes on a certain schedule, it's something from 30 days ago is probably going to be gone anyway, even from local backups. Now, one thing that is I find more successful in restoring back further is shadow copies.
Yes.
Shadow copies, it usually goes back much further than the tapes go back because some clients might have 2-week tape rotation. So after 2 weeks, it's gone on the tape.
Mm-hmm.
But it's shadow copies. If they've got the hard drive space, goes back a lot longer.
And then you can actually, and correct me if I'm wrong, you can set up a different hard drive just for the shadow copies and increase.
Yeah, you can redirect that. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And what shadow copies are, for those of y'all that might not know, you can actually, if it's the files on a server, you as the administrator, or even the user, if you want to give them that right, which most people don't, you can right-click on a file folder, go to previous versions. You can view the versions. This worked out well in one company that they did. They drafted and then engineered, so they had a lot of maps. So I did shadow copies at 7, 12, and 5 p.m. I had really big hard drive that was on a RAID array because Johnny would work on a map S705 and then it will crap out because they did a mistake and they can't reverse all the changes. So went to shadow copy, did a right click, previous version from 7 a.m. and they were good to go. As Matt said, no need to go to a backup tape or at that point there was no backup because it was 8 hours earlier. So
right, most of my restores when client calls me are from shadow copies, and by default, if shadow copy is enabled, any user by default can go to a previous version as long as they have access to the file.
I thought in XP you had to install something on the client.
You do have to install on the XP, right? You got to install the shadow copy client. It's there in other versions.
Okay.
But yeah, that's where most of my stuff comes from. Now you can show users how to do this, of course, but they're going to forget because I've showed the same user multiple times how to do shadow copies because it's really is meant for the end user to restore files and not having to call the IT support. But um, again, as with small business server is meant for the office manager to manage, I think they kind of missed Microsoft being kind of misread what users are capable of.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Microsoft internal users can do this because they're computer people, but the
Right.
average computer person is not going to remember once every 3 months when they need it to go right click and go to previous version. So
Mm-hmm. Right. It's a shadow copy. It's a great tool if you check it out. And it's built inside Windows 7, and I think that
the client, you mean, or
actually,
it's actually a Windows 7. Uh, if this person wanted to go to a bunch of Windows 7 computers and use a home group, that's another option where they could each user can share what they want to on the home group.
mm-hmm.
More of a peer to peer, or definitely more of a peer to peer setup than a centralized server. But the home group, if you have Windows 7, I put it a couple places where I didn't feel they needed a server yet, and they've liked it, no issues. But when you're getting to about 10 computers, I think that small business essentials is right is what that is targeted for.
Cool.
Plus, it's going to have things like remote access and other things like that that this customer may want to take advantage of.
Yep. In fact, I think we did a show where we talked about that version and all the benefits of it. So
Yes, so it's nice. That's what I'd go with them. And you see, they already have a server, so I think they're used to the whole domain thing and um, Windows 2000 server. Whew, wow.
which was pretty good when it was out.
Oh yeah, it was great when it's out. But you know what? Try and find antivirus for it now.
No, it's you don't want to run anything that they stop providing updates for. That's when if you haven't upgraded, then you should upgrade.
Yeah, I had a client call me the other day having problems with one of their programs. So I log in and take a look, and she's running Windows 7 64-bit, and she's having an issue with Quicken 2000.
Mm.
I said, well, here's what we need to happen. It's a funky problem inside of this program. The problem started when she got her new computer on Windows 7. It runs, but some things don't work correctly. So, this program was written 12 years ago. They stopped supporting it online according to Quicken in 2004. So what I recommend is you upgrade to the latest version of Quicken, because I really can't help you on a 12-year-old program that has no support. Unfortunately, that's what I can do for you, is advise you to upgrade.
Well, and it's true, and you'll have folks that will beg and will say, please, and you gotta make it work. Okay, let's say by chance you make the program work. When that thing doesn't work, who are they gonna call? And you just set the expectation that you can make that program work.
Right. And how much does Quicken really cost? Because my time, I think I looked online and showed her Quicken was like $60.
Exactly.
I said an hour of my time is going to cost more than trying to get this to work. So she mentioned cost was a concern. I said, I understand. That's why I think the most cost efficient thing for you to do is to get the new version.
Mm-hmm. And I know that there is someone who is listening right now that is screaming, well, how about XP mode? Yeah, but again, it would cost
it would.
And for $60,
right. I gotta set up that XP mode. Then it's more administration in the long term, because I've got to keep that updated. Not only that, she's still using a program that's not supported. And I'll tell you what, XP mode is a marketing tool. That is there so Microsoft can say they're compatible with older programs.
It is. I've seen it work in an environment where the vendor had a product that would only work on XP, and they're going to upgrade it at the end of 2012. So until now, these 5 folks are running this product in XP mode, which for those of you that don't know, is a virtual machine that's inside your Windows 7. I think it runs under virtual PC.
Yeah.
Microsoft. All right. Now, the con about XP mode is like you now have a second PC that is going to consume CPU resources. This thing will need antivirus. You got to keep it updated. I mean, so now you're maintaining 2 PCs.
Right. Now, we just did a new server. We did it last week. We're just still doing some fine tuning, but every single one of those computers, we had to use XP mode because they're using an old DOS accounting program. So we have XP mode on every one of those computers, but that is a short-term solution until they can get around to updating their accounting software. It does work. We do have places using it, and I try and persuade people who need it to either upgrade their software or find another solution because there are long-term administrative costs to using that.
I agree. I mean, my advice was, or how I describe it to people who want to use it, it's a Band-Aid.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sorry, I still got this cough. In a business environment, I mean, I'm talking about the home, I'm talking about the business user that wants to run an application. Okay. If your application is not up to Windows 7, then you need to find a different vendor. I mean, unless the application controls like a NASA or, something, a mission critical, but
right. And then Windows XP mode only comes with Windows 7 Professional, so not Windows 7.
Forgot to mention that. Mm-hmm. And then,
because according to Microsoft, the only reason that you would need this is because line of business applications haven't been updated yet. Home users shouldn't ever have to run XP mode for a program. If you find a new program, if your card program doesn't work, get a new card program. If you're running Quicken 2000, get Quicken 2012. there's no reason.
Except folks who are married to the Palm Pilots. And there are folks that are married to their iPhones, and then I think we spoke last week about folks who are married to their Blackberries. Every once in a while, Bob will pop out about once a year with a Palm Pilot with a disc from like 2001.
I haven't seen that in quite a while.
I had one last year where this person was just so content that this thing has a calendar, and I tried, the iPhone has a calendar. It's pretty neat. It syncs up. The Android, no, I want this. And then she had the damn stylus.
Oh, wow. If a client called me and said they want me to their Palm Pilot, I'd say, okay, the first thing we have to do is we can get you a new Palm Pilot because new Palm Pods work much better. What they call them are iPod Touches. They changed the name. So let's get one of those, and I'll be happy to set it up for you.
Yo. Alrighty, Matt. That's the end of our show. Again, another good quality show. You have anything to say? How can people contact you?
They can send me an email, Matt, M-A-T-T at podnutz.com is the best place to get a hold of me. And unfortunately, I am still under the new server install pile. We got more servers that we have to put in, more new networks. So we try and get to the email. When somebody emails me, I try and reply to it right away and then read the next show. Sometimes I get behind, but it's still the best way to get a hold of me.
I agree. And you can contact me at Lalo, L-A-O-O, at podnutz.com. Of course, don't forget to pay a visit if you haven't already to betterpctech.com. Working on some new projects. Super secret. Hopefully they get done because work is, among other things, are just killing me. But other than that, we always appreciate you taking the time to listen to our show because you're a busy person. So thank you very much. And we'll see you next week. And of course, go podnutz.com and check out all the beautiful, fine quality Podnutz shows. So,
yep. And actually, next week, we're going to be starting a little bit later. Mm-hmm. So I think we're going to maybe try and go for 8:30 Eastern, just to let everybody know.
And in the show, apologizing to Steve Tribino because I forgot to hit record. So it's going to cost him a little bit more work when he releases the show. So sorry, Steve.
Ouch.
All right, guys, have a good one.
Good night.